Well, hello everybody. We are back with another chapter of A Siren's Broken Melody. And, well, you all understand that last chapter was quite sad. I understand that the microphone was a bit echoey and weird and, you know, uh the audio overlapped and I'm getting used to this new microphone and where to put it and all that kind of stuff, but I've got it all figured out, hopefully. And this time I will be uh editing a little bit better with my audio, and hopefully we have no more mistakes. I'm so sorry about the last chapter. Anyway, here is your next chapter. Chapter 6. Sabrina's ears stretched into two small frills. Her neck opened up with gills. Her eyes sharpened and turned red. Sabrina screamed a little as her hands webbed together and small, slender fins poked out of her forearms. Her teeth sharpened into regular siren's mouth teeth, and then her legs fused together and warped into a tail. Bright purple scales formed all around her tail, and her fins turned teal. Sabrina, you're a siren! Durana cried. What? She cried, holding her hands in front of her like it was some slimy, rotten eel. Durana splashed up to Benjamin and smiled brightly. What? Is she actually... But how? Benjamin stammered. Durana pushed him to the shore of the Seal Reef Island. Sabrina was brought to shore as well, but she looked extremely terrified. Whoa, you look, pretty. Benjamin stared at Sabrina with a genuine expression, not in a trance. But I'm not normal. I don't know how this happened, Sabrina whimpered. You're speaking sailfish. Try to get some English words out, Lionfish said bluntly. Stop calling me sailfish, Sabrina squeaked, grabbing her face. Proto clambered up to her frill and purred. He started to look a little bigger. So, you're home now, I guess. I guess I leave? Benjamin stammered. No, don't leave me here. I don't want to stay here. I don't want to be the most feared thing in the ocean, Sabrina cried desperately. Hey, that's rude. Also, the most feared thing would be the Kraken, Lionfish pointed out. Here, you talk with Benjamin. I'm going to show Sabrina the reef, Durana said warmly. She offered her hand, and Sabrina didn't take it. She looked so horrified. Durana felt guilty. I just want to show you something, Durana said warmly. Sabrina whimpered and grabbed her hand. They swam through the coral and found a pod of stingray. Durana showed her how to glide through the water with them. Then they found a large group of seahorses. A few sea slugs were found floating in the water. Then Durana showed a few crabs hatching. It was quiet for the both of them. Sabrina was watching in awe, and Durana was watching her carefully. A bunch of baby turtles swished around with their parents. Sabrina smiled brightly and pet the back of a few turtles. Thousands of tiny fish spiraled around Durana and Sabrina. Sabrina found one fish with a hurt fin, so Durana gestured that she should eat it. Sabrina looked disgusted. It's not that bad. I really like those kinds. Durana laughed. But raw? Sabrina whimpered. Do you want to build a fire here? Durana asked sarcastically. So Sabrina hesitantly took a small bite of the fish. Proto took a little bit of it as well. It's not bad, Sabrina admitted. Why don't we head back? Durana offered warmly, swishing away without holding her hand to guide her. Sabrina was fast, and her control was surprisingly well. They raced around a bit before Lionfish found them. So, how's being the most hated creature in the ocean? She asked coldly. If we go to the village, everyone's going to call you Sailfish, Lionfish added. She showed Sabrina how to turn back into a human. Then Sabrina hugged Benjamin and told him all about what she saw. They were cute together. If you saw them together for the first time, you would think they were dating. But they were too different, and they didn't say that they loved each other, right? You go back to your human place. We're taking Sailfish home. But, don't look at me like that, but I can see if she can visit home for a little bit. Or something like that, where she can visit her friends or whatever. Lionfish explained. Sabrina looked at Benjamin with a worried look. They hugged each other, and Benjamin looked so upset. After they hugged, he looked at her in the eyes silently. Dorana couldn't believe he kissed her. But there they were, on the beach, with Sabrina's lips on his, and her eyes were wide open and shocked. Lionfish almost looked furious. She was, like, guilty of something, but also definitely shocked. Okay, Lionfish, let's wrap it up. Dorana, you take her back. I'll push Benjamin away. Lionfish said awkwardly. She pulled Benjamin away on the boat. You know you're asking to get actually killed by, like, falling in love with, like, a siren. You know that, right? Lionfish asked him. Sabrina hesitated and looked at Dorana. They're going to love seeing you again, even if you don't remember, Dorana said warmly, offering her hand. Sabrina whimpered and used the spell Lionfish taught her to quickly turn back into a siren. They swam down deep to the coral huts. Hey, everyone, look over here, Dorana cheered, albeit quietly. Swarms of Aquolf and Siren crowded over them in praise. Sailfish! One mer siren cried the loudest, grabbing her and hugging her tightly. Oh, I thought I'd be the last of our nest, she whispered. Oh, Dorana, Sabrina stammered. I have to tell you something about Sailfish, Dorana said softly, putting a hand on her sister. When the humans took her, they made her think that she was just a human. Like, she doesn't, Sailfish doesn't even remember her name, Dorana said hesitantly, looking at the sister with sympathy. What? So she doesn't even know who I am? The blue siren cried, looking back at Sabrina with a sad look, her large frill folded down slowly. But, how? Humans don't have magic, the blue siren whimpered, looking at Sabrina hopefully. This siren looked like Sabrina, with choppy short hair, darker eyes, deeper teal fins, and blue scales. The rim of her frill had a light purple, fading into blue. Dorana frowned. I don't know how they did it, but Lionfish is sure it's Sailfish, she whispered. Where's Lionfish? One of Lionfish's siblings barked. Dorana peeped. She was getting rid of the human that brought us here, she answered. There she is, someone called. The horde of sirens went to welcome her back. Sabrina was still being hugged by her sister. Her sister was crying and apologizing. Proto smuggled into the hug and wrapped around Sabrina's frill. I can still try to be your sister. I don't know if it'll be the same, but I can try. Once I get your name again, Sabrina offered softly. Wolfie. I'm Wolfie, your older sister, and never forget it, the blue siren said sternly through her tears. They had the same round eyes, similar shaped fins. They were definitely siblings. Something Dorana didn't have. Dorana? Why aren't your siblings coming to hug you? Sabrina asked. Dorana's heart sank, and she didn't answer. They never made it. Dorana never got to meet them, Wolfie said sadly. I wish you could have met your siblings, but sailors and krakens just got to them first, she explained sadly to Sabrina. Suddenly, the chief of the Aquolf swam up to Dorana. He was a lot larger than she remembered. He looked down at her like she was a tiny barnacle. He brought Durrana up to his chest and hugged her. I thought you had died. Thank you for bringing my son such joy, Durrana. You mean a lot to us, he said in his big, booming voice. Durrana started to cry and hugged him as best as she could, due to the size difference. He patted his hand on her back and kissed her forehead just like Jinx would have done. Welcome home, he said softly, swimming back to Lionfish to talk with her next. Proto swam around her head and settled down on her frill. Wolfie took Sabrina to her home and showed her around. Durrana went to her hut, the empty, quiet, lonely hut. Durrana, you scared me half to death! I missed you! Jinx would say, hugging her at the door. She put Proto on his potted coral and rested on her bed. Durrana, you scared me. Are you all right? I missed you, Jinx's voice squeaked from the other room. Durrana swam over immediately and saw Jinx laying in his bed. His chest was covered in wraps, but he was breathing. Jinx! Durrana cried, hugging him carefully. Oh, Durrana, he sighed. And that, my friends, is the end of chapter 6. Woo! So, anyway, that was really fun, and oh my gosh, Wolfie, she's so pretty. Wolfie is actually a type of octopus. It just sounds like her name is literally like Wolfie, like a 2-year-old named her, but that's not true. Also, she slays. She's really cool. She has a whole backstory, and we'll probably never actually get to it. Unless you watch my YouTube Shorts. My YouTube Shorts, I might post like some form of backstory on Wolfie getting her hair chopped off because traditionally sirens do not cut their hair. So, just so you know, this is not gonna be the canon thing. If I ever make this series into an actual book, half of this probably won't be happening. Also, I am going to be skipping one chapter because it gets a little confusing / too zesty for everything, and for it to be friendly to people, including myself. I don't even know how this monstrosity of a chapter got into this book, but I am going to be skipping a lot. I'll sum it up, but yeah. Anyway. Goodbye!